The man who fought alone the planet was silent after the battle. Black smoke rose from the ground. Alien machines lay broken. Vrac soldiers, giants with thick armor and red skin, were dead across the battlefield, and in the center stood one man. His name was Reed. He was a human. His armor was damaged. Blood covered his face, but it was not his own. His breathing was slow, calm, as if he had done this before. He looked at the last fallen alien and whispered, "You should have stayed home." The Vrac's empire had sent 50 elite soldiers. Each one was trained to kill 10 humans. They believed humans were weak, emotional, slow. They were wrong. Reed didn't just win. He destroyed them. Far above the planet, inside a giant alien ship, the Vrac's queen watched everything. Her skin was smooth like silver. Her eyes were cold and deep like space. She did not blink. She watched the human wipe blood from his face and walk toward the next ridge. Like he was going for a quiet walk in the park, her generals looked at each other with fear. One of them finally spoke. "He is not normal. He is a weapon." Another one added, "We should destroy the planet, now." But the queen raised her hand. Silence. Then she said something no one expected. "Bring me the human." 3 days earlier, Reed had landed on the outer planet without permission. He came alone in a small ship. He didn't speak to anyone. He carried only one picture in his pocket, a young woman with dark hair and bright eyes. She was smiling. Her name was Lyra. She was gone, taken. Reed didn't come to fight. He came to find her. But when he arrived, the aliens attacked first. They saw him as a threat. As an invader, he tried to avoid killing them at first, but they left him no choice. Now, Reed stood alone among the Badas. He opened a small device. On his wrist, a map appeared in the air. Red dots showed enemy positions. A green blinking dot showed his target, a hidden Vrac's facility. Deep in the mountains, that was where she might be. He started walking. He didn't run. He didn't hide. He knew they would come for him again. Let them come. Inside the queen's ship, soldiers were already preparing. Drones, hunters, traps. They did not want to capture him. They wanted to kill him before he reached the mountains, but the queen stopped them again. "No," she said softly. "This one is different. I want him alive." "Why?" the general asked. "He's dangerous." The queen looked at the battlefield screen once more. Her voice was calm. "Because I have never seen fear in his eyes." Reed reached a ruined outpost by nightfall. He found food, water, and a small power cell to charge his gear. He sat down against a broken wall and closed his eyes. Flashbacks hit him. Lyra was screaming. Bright lights. Alien hands grabbing her. His ship exploding, falling, fire. He opened his eyes again. No tears. Only anger. He whispered to himself, "Hold on, I'm coming." In the dark sky above, ships moved quietly. Vrac's hunters were on their way. But Reed was ready. He set up traps using alien tech. Tripwires, EMP bursts, sharp plasma mines. When they came, he was waiting, one by one. They fell. Silent, quick, brutal. The last one tried to run. Reed caught him, looked into his eyes, and said, "Tell your queen, I'm not leaving without her." Then he let him live. The survivor crawled back to his ship and flew away. Hours later, he knelt before the queen and told her everything. "He wants the girl. He killed everyone. He let me live to send a message." The queen sat still. No anger. No fear. Just curiosity. "He fights for love," she whispered. "That makes him stronger than any weapon." She stood up from her throne and gave the order. "Bring me the human." And this time, no one questioned her. It started with silence. No alarms, no footsteps, no sound of battle. Red woke up in the dark. He was floating. His arms and legs were bound by invisible energy. He couldn't move, but he could breathe. A dim blue light glowed around him. He was inside a pod, cold, silent, and moving fast. He wasn't on the battlefield anymore. He was off the planet. He was in space. An AI voice spoke near his ear, calm, emotionless. "Human life form secured, transporting to royal vessel." Reed said nothing. His mind was already racing. "How did they capture me? I set traps. I was ready, but they didn't fight him. They didn't even touch him. They outsmarted him. far above, on a massive alien ship shaped like a black crown. The Queen of the Vrax was waiting. Her chamber was cold and silent. Her throne was carved from a rare stone found only on dead worlds. The ceiling above her showed stars and galaxies, not with screens, but through a living window of bio-glass. She did not sit like a ruler. She sat like a predator, her long silver fingers tapped the armrest as she watched the pod float into her chamber. The human had arrived. The pod opened slowly. Steam hissed out. Reed dropped to the floor. His body was weak, still under the effect of stasis gas. But his eyes were sharp. He looked up at the Queen, breathing hard. He didn't bow. He didn't speak. He just stood, bleeding and broken and unafraid. The Queen tilted her head slightly. Her voice was smooth but carried power. "You are the one who killed my warlords," Reed didn't reply. "You're not like the others. You are faster, stronger, but still human. Tell me, why are you here?" He looked up, cold and steady. His voice was rough but clear. "Where is she?" The Queen smiled, just a little. Around the chamber, high-ranking Vrax commanders watched in silence. None dared speak. The last time someone interrupted the Queen, they were dissolved by nanobots in seconds. She rose from her throne. "You're not here to fight. Not for glory. Not for your planet. You came for a single person." Reed didn't move. His hands clenched into fists. "You came for her." The Queen slowly stepped down from the throne, her feet barely touching the floor. Lyra. Reed's heart jumped. She knew the name. She had her. He tried to attack, but energy surged through his body. He collapsed to one knee. The chamber guard stepped forward, but the Queen raised her hand. "No," she said. "Let him speak." Reed looked up, fighting the pain. "If you hurt her, I'll burn your empire to the ground." The Queen gave a small laugh. "Not cruel, just curious. So much fire for a fragile little human. But I didn't harm her." She stepped closer, now just feet away from him. "She is very special. I want to understand why." Then she said something no one expected. "I need your help, human." The entire room froze. Reed blinked. Was this a trick? The Queen continued. "There is something coming. A threat even I cannot stop, and I believe humans carry the answer. In your blood, your minds, your rage. Help me stop it, and I'll give you what you want." Reed looked into her strange silver eyes. He saw no fear, only ambition, only control. He stayed quiet, thinking. He was inside her ship, surrounded, weak, but not defeated. He knew one thing. If Lyra was alive, he would find her. And if the Queen thought she could control him. She didn't understand humans at all. Final lines, for suspense. The Queen turned to her guards and whispered, "Do not harm the human. Let him see our world. Let him learn what is coming." Reed stood up, breathing hard, staring at the stars outside. Whatever came next, he would survive it. And if she lied, he would kill her with his bare hands. Space was never quiet for him. For most people, space was cold, silent, and endless. But not for Reed. Inside his mind, space screamed. It screamed with the sound of gunfire, with the memory of her voice, with the echo of the last battle, and the faces of 50 Vrax warriors he left dead behind him. Now he was trapped in a clear energy sphere, floating in the air like a trophy. He couldn't move. He couldn't break it, but he could see and he didn't like what he saw. The room around him was alive. The walls moved like muscle. Alien symbols flowed across the floor like light. Dozens of silver-skinned guards stood watching him, not with weapons raised, but with curiosity. Like scientists watching an experiment. At the far end of the chamber sat a throne. It was not made of metal, but of bone, and on that throne sat her, the Queen of the Vrax. She didn't wear a crown. She didn't need one. She had something more powerful than fear, control. She stared at Reed without blinking. Then she spoke, her voice like glass over fire. "You are not what I expected." Reed didn't answer. "You came here for one reason, not to fight, not to lead an army. You came for her." Still, he was silent. The Queen stood up. "I admire that. Even now, after killing my finest soldiers, you care more about one person than yourself." She walked slowly toward him. "What is she to you, this human girl?" Reed's jaw tightened. "Everything. The Queen stopped. A strange smile touched her lips. Then we want the same thing. Reed looked up sharply. What are you talking about? I don't want to harm her, the Queen said. I want to understand her. Understand you, your kind. She waved her hand. The sphere around Reed vanished. He dropped to one knee but quickly stood. Even now, surrounded, tired, injured, he wouldn't show weakness. Let me see her, he demanded. You will, the Queen replied. But first, I want to show you something. She turned and the walls of the room shifted, revealing a massive window. Outside, stars spun like a storm dot in the center. A shadow moved. A massive shape, not a ship, not a moon. Something alive. It is coming, she said. Not just for my people, but for yours. Reed stared at it. He didn't understand it, but his instincts screamed. Whatever it was wrong. What is that? Our extinction, she answered softly. Unless we stop it. Why me? Reed asked. Why humans? The Queen turned to him. Slowly. Because you fight like animals. But you love like gods. Scene shift. Somewhere deep in the ship, a young woman opened her eyes. She was weak, pale, and covered in strange alien wires. She whispered a name. Reed? Final lines for suspense. Reed clenched his fists. He didn't trust the Queen, but if Lyra was alive, he would go through hell to reach her, even if he had to walk side by side with the devil herself. Her voice reached him before her face did. Not through sound. Not through a screen. But through the walls of the alien ship, through something deeper, a whisper, a breath. Reed. He froze. He had been calm, controlled, ready to play the Queen's game. But now? Now his heart beat like war drums. The Queen noticed. She smiled, not with joy, but with calculation. You heard her, didn't you? Reed didn't answer. But his eyes burned with fire. She's not far, the Queen said. Still alive, still yours. Show me, Reed growled. Not yet, she replied. You're not ready. Scene change. Far below the Queen's throne, deep inside the ship's core, Lyra sat in a transparent cell. She was thinner now. Her skin was pale. Her eyes dull, but still full of spirit, wires connected to her temples. Machines around her pulsed with light. She was not alone. Other prisoners, not just human, but alien, were there too, silent, afraid. But Lyra? She sat straight, waiting. She believed he was coming, and she was right. Back to Reed. Reed stood inside a new room. It looked like a museum, or a warning. The walls were covered with images of extinct alien species. These are the ones we couldn't save, the Queen said behind him. They were proud, brave, but they refused to work with us. She stepped beside him. You are different, you're brutal, but loyal. I want to use that. Reed stared at the faces on the walls. You mean control it? The Queen tilted her head. Control or channel, same thing in the end. Reed looked her in the eyes. What do you want from me? Help me stop what's coming. Lead our forces. Win, and I will give her back. Reed's mind raced. He didn't trust her. He never would, but what choice did he have? He needed time. Access, a way in. A way out. So he said the one word that surprised everyone. Deal. Scene shift later, inside his private chamber, Reed received a message, not from the Queen, not from a guard, from a traitor. A soft voice whispered through his cum device, Your girl is alive. She's in the lower decks. They're using her. Reed replied in a low voice, Who are you? A mistake, like you. But I can help. Why? Because the Queen never keeps her promises. And she fears you. Reed looked out the small window toward the stars. He had a map. He had a name. He had hope. Now he needed one more thing. A plan. Final scene. Back in her cell, Lyra closed her eyes and smiled. Just a little. She didn't know where Reed was, but somehow she felt closer to him than ever, and far above her in her golden throne. The Queen whispered to herself, Soon the human will see what love truly costs. They were not speaking about him in fear anymore. They were speaking about him in whispers. In quiet corners of the ship, in soldier camps, in shadowy council halls. The human walks freely now. He eats with the commanders. The Queen favors him. And some said something more dangerous. Maybe he is not a prisoner anymore, but Reed knew the truth. He was not free. He was being watched at every room, every corridor, every step, but they had made one mistake. They thought watching him was enough to control him. It was and single quotes inside the War Council chamber, alien generals gathered. Holograms of enemy fleets floated in the air. The Queen entered, her silver dress flowing like smoke. Beside her, silent and alert, stood Reed. He looked like a guest, but he was already planning their destruction. The Queen raised her hand. The enemy grows stronger, she said. If we fall, they will burn your homes, your nests, your bloodlines. But today, we have something they do not. We have the human. Eyes turned toward Reed. He said nothing, but his silence made more impact than any speech. Scene shift. Secret meeting. Lower decks in a rusted engine room lit by leaking plasma pipes. A group of rebels met in secret. They were Vraks, but not loyal ones. They were old warriors, broken engineers, half-breeds, and now, one human ally, Tarn the traitor who sent Reed the message. He agreed to help the Queen, one whispered. No, Tarn replied. He's playing a long game. He's dangerous, another said. He could bring it all down. Exactly, Tarn smiled. That's why he's the only chance. We have. Scene shift. Reed walked to Queen's Gardens, a strange place of floating rocks and glowing blue plants. Beside him, the Queen spoke softly. They hate you, you know. Good, Reed said, but they also fear you. That makes you useful. To you? He asked. To the future, she replied. The war that is coming is bigger than both of us. Reed stopped walking. You keep talking about this war, he said. But you've shown me nothing. Soon, the Queen said, and her eyes darkened. Very soon. Flashback sequence, Reed's mind. Flashes of Earth, Lyra laughing beside a campfire. Soldiers landing, screaming, her hands slipping out of his. Back to now, his fists clenched. He had to stay focused. Later that night, Tarn met Reed again in secret. The Queen's enemies want to meet you, Tarn whispered. Why? Because some of them think you're their only hope? And the others? They want you dead? Reed nodded. Then I'll meet them tomorrow. Final scene, alien perspective. In a distant galaxy on a planet burned black by a creature moved through the ash. Its body was not flesh, not metal. It was something older. It looked up toward the stars and growled in a language older than time. The Queen has joined with the human. Then we strike, now. Final line. Reed stood on the balcony of the Queen's warship. Looking into the void, the stars were quiet. Too quiet, he didn't know it yet. But war had already begun. Some doors are locked not to keep people out, but to keep something in. Reed stood in front of one such door. It wasn't metal. It wasn't glass. It was alive, pulsing, breathing, like muscle under skin. A black warning symbol glowed on it. 3 alien words repeated in red light. Forbiddance, forgotten, forever. This wasn't a prison. It was something worse. The Queen never let anyone enter this part of her ship. No cameras. No guards, no light. Tarn had stolen him a code. A single-use pass. You want to know the truth? Tarn had said. Go there. See it yourself. Then tell me whose side you're on. Now Reed stood at the edge of that truth, and he walked in. Inside, silence. The air was cold, thick, and full of static. Dark walls whispered as he passed. Not voices, memories. He walked down a hallway lit by flickering blue tubes. The deeper he went, the more wrong things felt. He saw rooms filled with fluid tanks, and in them floating bodies. Some were human. Some were alien. Some were something in between. Their eyes were open, but they were not alive. Then he heard it. Not a machine, not a voice, but a heartbeat. He followed it. One step. Then another, and then he saw her. Lyra. She was lying on a table, held by soft wires and glowing straps. She was thinner than before, weaker, but breathing. Her eyes were closed. Her lips moved, like she was dreaming. Reed rushed forward. Lyra, it's me, I'm here. She didn't answer, but her fingers twitched, just a little, like they hurt him. Then a voice came from the dark. You shouldn't be here. Reed turned. His gun was up in a second. An old alien stood there. Skin gray, eyes tired. They told you she was safe, the alien said. That she was resting, healing, lies. They're using her. Her mind, her memories. She's powering their ship. Reed couldn't believe it. She's not a battery, he growled. No, the alien said. She's more than that. She's the key to something they don't understand. She dreams of Earth, of pain, of love, that emotion. It gives the Queen power. Reed looked down at Lyra. Tears came. But not weakness, only rage. Can she be saved? He asked. If you break the link, the alien said. But if you do, this whole section may collapse. Reed placed his hand on hers. Then we fall together. He reached for the control panel. The room screamed. Alarms flashed, red dot machines pulled. Against him, wires tightened around Lyra's body. System failure detected. Biolink breach. Security inbound. Reed didn't stop. He ripped the last wire free. Lyra gasped, a sharp breath, and her eyes open. Reed? I've got you, he said. Hold on. He lifted her in his arms and turned toward the exit. Outside, the walls shook. Defense drones flew in. Fire lit the corridor. Reed ran, Lyra in his arms, heart full of fury. Far above in her throne room. The Queen watched the alarms flash. She did not panic. She did not move. She only whispered to herself, So, the heart has been awakened. Let's see what it does with a broken world. He expected alarms. He expected guns, but there was only silence. Reed ran with Lyra in his arms. She was awake now, barely whispering his name like it was a memory she had waited years to speak. Behind them, red lights flashed, smoke filled the corridor, but no guards came. No drones. No traps, no Queen. Just nothing. That's when Reed realized something was wrong. Too easy. Too quiet. He wasn't escaping. He was being allowed to leave. They reached the edge of the forbidden zone. A door opened by itself. Cool air flowed in, white light. No more shadows, and standing in that light was the Queen alone, unarmed. Waiting. Reed raised his weapon. Move. The Queen didn't. You've seen her, she said. You touched the truth, and yet you still don't understand. Understand what? Reed snapped. That you used her? Lead turned her into a machine? The Queen stepped forward slowly, not threatening, almost sad. No, she said. That she was always part of the plan. Scene shift, flashbacks, but not from Reed. From Lyra, a secret mission. A deal made behind Reed's back. Volunteering for a project to connect humanity to the stars. The Queen's voice in her mind, whispering through dreams. Lyra hadn't just been taken, she had agreed. Back in the corridor, Lyra opened her eyes. She looked at Reed, confused, afraid. I remember her, she said softly. I remember choosing. Reed froze. What are you saying? I came here before you did? I was part of it. The Queen stepped closer. Humanity is on the edge, she said. You are brave, strong, but alone. I offered your kind a link, a place in something bigger. Lyra was our bridge. You were just the fire. Reed lowered his gun just a little. His hands were shaking. So all this, the battles, the tests, it was about me? No, the Queen said. It was about what you would do for love. Scene shift. Queen's inner mind, visually stunning. Flash, in a deep chamber of her ship, neural links light up. Reed and Lyra's memories, shared, mixed, blurred. Pain and war, laughter and love, all copied, all recorded. Because emotion is power. And humans feel deeper than any species the galaxy has known. Back in the hallway, Lyra sat up weakly. Her voice was small. Did you ever wonder why they didn't kill you, Reed? Why they watched you fight, again and again? He looked at her. And for the first time, he had no answer. Final scene. The Queen looked at both of them, not like enemies, but like pieces on the board finally in place. The real war begins now, she said. Not with guns. Not with ships, but with truth. She turned away and vanished into the light, and behind her, a distant signal pulsed from deep space. Something was coming, and this time, even the Queen might not be ready. Somewhere in deep space, Something ancient woke up. It had no name, no voice, no face, only a hunger. It moved through the stars like a shadow. It devoured light. It turned planets to dust. And now it was close. Its mind stretched across galaxies, searching. It felt rage. It felt fear. And it felt something new. It felt him, the human. Cut to the Queen's throne room. Her eyes were closed. Her body still. But her mind was wide awake, connected to 1,000 ships, 1,000,000 lives, and in every direction, one word echoed in alien languages. They're here. It has begun. We are not ready. Then a voice broke through the silence. The Queen whispered to her guards, "Bring me the human." Cut to Reed and Lyra in a stolen cruiser. They were flying low over a burning moon. Explosions lit the sky behind them. The stars were shaking, literally. The ancient enemy had arrived. It didn't come with weapons. It came with change, rewriting the laws of matter and time. Ships melted mid-flight. Voices went silent on open channels. Reed clenched his jaw. This is what she was preparing for, he said. This monster. Lyra nodded. Her strength was returning, but her eyes held sorrow. She wanted to use us to fight it. She needed our memories, our emotions. Because machines can't feel fear, she added, but humans can. And fear, Reed said, can become fire. Scene shift. Queen's ship, final meeting. Reed and Lyra were brought back by her order. No prison this time. No chains. Just silence. The Queen stood at the window, watching space twist like liquid. It's breaking our laws, she said. Our gravity, our time, our language. She turned to them. You asked what my plan was. It was to survive? Reed stepped forward. Then why bring us here? Because you are not like them, the Queen said. You break rules. You disobey. You love even when it kills you. You're chaos, and chaos is the one thing this enemy fears. Final battle begins. The Queen gives Reed full command of the last living fleet. Alien warriors, AI ships, rebel captains, all wait for his order. He doesn't give a speech. He just looks at Lyra and says, "We end this. Together." They launch, the sky burns, the ancient enemy attacks in silence. No words. No mercy. But this time the humans are not alone. Reed leads the charge. Fast, brutal, smart, Lyra. Connected to the fleet's mind through the Queen's tech, guides him like a second heartbeat. Ships fall, worlds crack. But the Queen was right. Love makes humans strong. And rage makes them unstoppable. Climax. Reed faces the enemy core. A black star that speaks in memory. It shows him Earth destroyed, Lyra dying, his own hands covered in blood. This is your truth, it hisses. You are weak. Reed answers quietly, no, I'm human. And he detonates the core using a thought trigger built by Lyra, fueled by the emotion the Queen stole from them both. Aftermath: silence. Then light. The shadow is gone. The Queen is gone. Her ship is empty. Final scene. Reed and Lyra sit on a quiet planet, watching a blue sunrise. Do you think she knew it would cost her everything? Lyra asks. Yeah, Reed says softly. That's what leaders do. She leans her head on his shoulder. So what now? Reed looks at the stars. We go home, and if there's no home left, he smiles just a little, we build one.